This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the first day of March in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. On the eve of the first anniversary of the controversial 2020 elections, opposition leader Joe Harmon announced today that he's ready to kickstart conversations with the government on ethnic and other issues which have been plaguing the Guyanese society since the country went to the polls a year ago. Mr. Harmon said the ethnic issues facing the country must be confronted by way of a national dialogue. To this end, he pledged his unwavering support to the Ethnic Relations Commission and its work. Admitting that the commission can do more, the opposition leader said he believes that political and other support must be given to the ERC, but at the same time its independence must be maintained. Mr. Harmon pointed out that political will to resolve the ethnic issues is in the best interest of the country and must be demonstrated now.
We need to understand today that there is much anger outside on the streets on this issue, that there are many people who perceive that ethnic discrimination is rampant. The point, Mr. Speaker, is not whether they perceive what they perceive is right or wrong. The reality is their perception. And it is our duty as political leaders to minimize that perception and try to get people to understand that the better way is to find a modus vivendi in which all of us will live in peace and harmony.
Harmon also acknowledged that ethnic tensions exist, but said those in charge must show the will to address such issues when they manifest themselves.
We must guard against this insidious attempt by persons who are uncomfortable with the composition of the Ethnic Relations Commission. Mr. Speaker, as I said, mere labels will not solve the ethnicity issue. I would be satisfied if there were to be a genuine effort to give effect to our oneness. Unfortunately, while this seemed to be an aspiration of President Ali, we see no financial allocation in the budget to give effect to this oneness as a program.
And the opposition leader also said if the government is serious about working together, then it should also be serious about consulting stakeholders. Mr. Harmon said consultations will reinforce the resilience within the population as it will ensure that their issues are being heard and addressed from all sides.
Mr. Speaker, there was no consultation with the opposition in the formulation of this budget. And so it is deficient, it is defective, and it's disastrous in many areas. Mr. Speaker, it is time that President Ali climbs down from his horse and recognizes that the only way forward for this country is by meaningful consultation. Barra Jagdeo has had his time. The Honorable Member Barra Jagdeo has had his time and more, and should remove his heavy hands off of your administration. The Constitution, President Ali, sets no precondition for consultation between the President and the Leader of the Opposition. In Article 127, Article 161, Article 191, Article 198, Article 200, Article 207, Article 210, and Article 212, none of them sets any precondition for consultation.
While the government refused to engage the APNU-AFC, which has 31 seats in the National Assembly on the budget, it held a brief session with small parties, many of them not included in the National Assembly. Mr. Harmon said the president must recognize that the only way to move the country forward is by meaningful consultation. Harmon reminded that he has made it clear that he is prepared to cooperate with the president on issues such as national security, national sovereignty, public health, and other areas which the opposition deemed to be in the public's interest. The opposition leader's contribution to the budget debate wrapped up the opposition's arguments on the debate. The APNU-AFC has accused the government of not doing enough to assist persons affected by the coronavirus pandemic in the budget, and to also assist public servants. The opposition has made it clear that it cannot offer its full support to the budget. The People's Civic Government has a one-seat majority in the 65-member parliament. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
All the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
You taste the cheese, you hear the crunch. Grab a zoomers and zoom into fun. And with the first taste, you feel like you don't want it done. Blast off to a whole new place with every single bite. The cheesy goodness bring your taste buds alive. So let's just zoom into fun with this wheel-shaped delight. Zoomers, zoomers, zoom into fun.
Contributions online? Simply visit our website at www.nis.org.gy. Click on the Create New Account button and enter the required information. An automatic email notification will be sent to acknowledge your application. Once your information is authenticated, you will receive an email within 48 hours with instructions on how to access the site. Once logged in, you can click on the My Contributions tab on the left side of the screen to view your contributions. For further information, you can call our Records Department on 225-2798 or visit your nearest NIS office.
Farfan and Mendez Group of Companies are committed to promoting development through quality service and integrity. We offer our customers genuine products, reliability, and excellence in service. Our corporate head office at Providence affords you the added convenience of a spacious showroom with secured parking. At Farfan and Mendez, we continue to offer our customers a wide range of genuine and affordable German-engineered equipment. We also offer clean, green alternative energy solutions with our industry-leading brands of solar equipment. So, visit our new showroom at Providence and enjoy the service of our efficient and courteous staff. Farfan and Mendez, offering you solutions you can depend on.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Legal Affairs will be moving to draft and present modern laws to the National Assembly for passage that will address new and emerging sectors in the country. Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Senior Counsel Anil Nandlal told the National Assembly today that every area of economic activity will be targeted for legal reforms as the country braces for more investment and business from the oil and gas sector.
Our major focus will be the creation of a modern legal infrastructure that will regulate these new and emerging sectors, while at the same time revamp our archaic laws to complete a new and modern legal framework for Guyana. So every conceivable area of economic activity will be targeted for legal reforms.
During his budget debate presentation, Mr. Nandlal also announced that an international consultant will be retained to draft a collection of legislation for the oil and gas sector, but other sectors will also be targeted for reform.
In the housing and hospitality sector, we will have a whole new regime of legislation dealing with zoning, urban planning, condominiums, townhouses. In the health sector, we have identified approximately 25 pieces of legislation we will work on, including new Public Health Act, a new Mental Health Act, organ transplant legislation, a new Food and Drug Act, and many more. In the agri sector, we will be enacting a food safety bill and a food security act and other pieces of legislation that will ready Guyana to export agricultural products.
Also listed as part of the legislative plan are bills to cover dumping and e-transactions. In the area of defense, the Attorney General told the National Assembly that in order to strengthen Guyana's ability to protect its borders, a bill is being drafted for the establishment of a border patrol unit, which will supplement the Guyana Police Force. Also on the cards for the Legal Affairs Ministry is the drafting of new public service rules, which Nandlal said will be to the benefit of public servants. Opposition Member of Parliament Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford this morning accused the government of abandoning the country's poor as he made his contribution to the 2021 budget debate. Describing the budget as weak on new ideas and lacking substance, Mr. Ford said all the recommendations that were put forward that would have benefited the country's poor people were rejected, while those recommendations to aid the private sector were supported by the government.
When one looks at what were the priorities of the private sector and the Guyana Trade Unions Congress for Budget 2021, and what eventually found its way into Budget 2021, the trickle-down approach is confirmed. The Guyana Trade Unions Congress stated that its priorities were 1. A reduction in national borrowing. Was it granted? No. A reduction in concessions given to the private sector. Was it granted? No. The erasure of the deficit of the National Insurance Scheme. Was it granted? No. The immediate restoration of the constitutional right to free education at the tertiary level. Was it granted? No. On the other hand, all the requests made by the private sector were granted.
The senior counsel said the budget is nothing more than a budget of no, as it rejected the needs of the ordinary Guyanese, especially those in the public sector and the rest of the working class. Ford, who is also the opposition's point person on legal matters, accused Attorney General Anil Nandlal of staging a vicious attack against persons perceived to be supporters of the APNU-AFC.
Mr. Speaker, the increases in salaries for workers, whether private or in public sector, is not a priority for this government. The government simply does not care about the workers. They're totally insensitive. There's no increase in salaries for the soldiers, no increase in salaries for the police, no increase in salaries for the public servants, none for the nurses, none for the teachers. The Minister of Labour has not said a word about this, and we can't expect more from him. He has no point to make.
Since taking office, the Attorney General has given several persons an ultimatum to give up lands which were acquired under the APNU AFC government or face legal consequences. Several contractors have also been given marching orders. Mr. Ford said if the Attorney General wants to appear fair, he should investigate the matters surrounding the sale of lands to the National Hardware Company under the previous PP Civic government. He made reference to a 2010 transaction between NISIL and National Hardware. The Assembly was told that details of that transaction show that the National Hardware Company was given 103.3 acres of prime lands for just $598 million and resold 16.4 acres of the same land for $400 million within months of the acquisition. Ford said although the APNU AFC government knew what took place prior to 2015, political neutrality was exercised. A probe has been launched into the disappearance of $300 million from the Finance Department of the Guyana Police Force, and a special audit is currently underway into the operations of that department. Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben announced in the National Assembly that there appears to have been a revolving door between police finances and the Police Welfare Fund, resulting in the disappearance of $300 million. It is suspected that the money went missing within the past year. The police force's Special Organized Crime Unit is leading the investigation. Ben did not offer any details of the probe, but news source understands that a number of senior police officers are to be questioned about the operations of the Finance Department and the use of funds in the department over the past year. During his budget debate presentation, the Home Affairs Minister noted that there is a need for a more professional Guyana police force. He said his ministry will ensure systems are in place to ensure that improved professionalism. Well, at least 3 staff members of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission have tested positive for COVID-19. The Commission has since scaled back operations after learning of the positive test last week. Following the positive test of one staff member, the agency instructed all other staff members to undergo a COVID-19 test before returning to work. It was then that it was discovered that 2 other staff members had contracted the virus. According to one source, staffers at the Commission are dissatisfied with the way management has been handling the situation, pointing out that information of the persons who tested positive has not been forthcoming. Once management fails to provide information on those positive, staff members say they will not return to work. With about 6 large departments, the Commission has ordered all of its staff members to return to work, with only a few being on rotation. The Commission has also employed a number of safety measures. Turning now to the education sector, noting international concern about the long-term impact the closure of schools is having on children, Guyana's Minister of Education, Priya Manik-Chen, has announced a plan to reopen schools for face-to-face learning after the Easter holidays. Schools in Guyana have been closed since March of last year, when the first cases of coronavirus in the country surfaced. During an update on the Ministry of Education's social media pages, Minister Manik-Chan said that during the month of March, schools will remain closed for face-to-face learning for every grade except grades 10, 11, and 12. However, with the Ministry of Health planning a comprehensive rollout of the COVID-19 vaccines during the month of March, the Education Ministry is hoping to reopen schools after the Easter holidays in April.
Once that goes smoothly and as planned, we anticipate that we're going to be able to reopen schools sometime after the Easter holiday, not too long after. Please remember, I'm saying that while that is an intention and it would be our desire, that would depend on further advice from the Ministry of Health.
The Education Ministry and the Ministry of Health have been working together on issues related to the safe reopening of schools, and the Health Ministry has been offering advice from a medical perspective based on information related to the virus.
For now, we remain closed to face-to-face learning for the month of March 2021 to all grades except grades 10, 11, and 12. We encourage teachers to continue to engage students online through the internet, by the various means, WhatsApp, Zoom, Facebook Messenger, or whatever else you've been using, Google Classroom, Edmodo, the various means you've been using. We encourage teachers to continue marking worksheets. We encourage parents to continue giving us the hand you've been giving us. We know this has not been an easy time for anyone.
In addition to providing worksheets, the Ministry of Education has been working with the Learning Channel and some local radio stations to provide curriculum teaching sessions for the various grades. In the past few months, a number of consultations have been hosted with teachers and parents across the country on the issue of reopening schools. Most parents appear supportive of a phased reopening with a shift system in place. 5 months after he escaped from the Lusignan prison, a robbery suspect was recaptured over the weekend during a cordon and search operation by the Guyana police force. The escapee 23-year-old James Moore was found as the police searched a house in the Sophia area. He has been on the run from law enforcement since September 2020, when he escaped from the Lusignan jail while on kitchen duties. At the time of his escape, Moore was serving a 3-year jail sentence for robbery on the arms. He's now expected to be charged with escaping from lawful custody. The Guyana police force and a number of other persons were arrested during its Saturday cordon and search operations. Guyana has recorded 2 more coronavirus-related deaths, according to the Ministry of Health. A 64-year-old man from Region 10 and a 79-year-old woman from Region 4 became the latest fatalities today. The country has now recorded a total of 197 deaths as the first anniversary of the pandemic in Guyana approaches. The Health Ministry announced today that 10 new cases of the virus have been recorded. The Health Ministry is hoping that a number of active cases will continue to drop as the country prepares for a national vaccination campaign. Tomorrow, the first 20,000 COVID-19 vaccines from China will arrive in the country. And later this week, 80,000 doses from India are also expected to arrive. Additionally, Guyana is preparing to get an additional 100,000 vaccines through the UN-sponsored COVAX initiative.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people, we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
All the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyoil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyoil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
This is Annie Bina. She's a clothing designer. She also likes to hang out with her friends. However, a life-changing event is about to occur. The mosquito that bit Annie Bina is infected with a tiny worm that causes lymphatic filariasis, also known as filaria. But what is filaria? Filaria is a disease that affects a person's lymphatic system, causing legs, arms, breasts, or scrotum to swell and eventually remain in a swollen state that cannot go back to normal. Filaria shows no symptoms during the early years. Untreatable chronic symptoms can appear as late as 20 years after infection. Since there are no symptoms in the beginning, most infected persons do not know they're infected, like Annie Bina. When the symptoms begin to appear, nothing will be able to make them disappear. Are you sure that you've not been infected like Annie Bina? What can you do then since you see no symptoms? Take your pills. Prevention is the best cure. A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Due to the impacts of the global pandemic, COVID-19 across our nation, essential organizations like us have chosen to adopt innovative approaches to meet the emerging needs of our customers while protecting our employees. Here are some quick tips to make managing your GPL bill easier while we practice social distancing. To register for electronic billing, you can use the e-billing tab on your website. To access your bill balance, you can use 4 options: the website live chat at gpl.net, the online inquiry on our website under billing, SMS freedom by texting your GPL reference number to 624-0400 or 608-8400, or call our call center at 226-2600. A message from the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
Across the region right now, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, is calling on the new United States government to begin dialogue aimed at removing sanctions against Venezuela. The sanctions, Dr. Rowley says, are contributing to a widespread humanitarian crisis in the Caribbean. Speaking virtually as chairman of CARICOM during a question and answer segment hosted by the nonpartisan organization the Atlantic Council last week, Dr. Rowley said the entire Caribbean would benefit from a significant thawing of the relationship between Cuba and the United States. Dr. Rowley said the way forward is through continued collaboration, adding that the Caribbean governments are anxiously looking forward to the U.S. playing a leadership role with CARICOM and the nations of Mexico and Norway to assist Venezuelans. He also appealed to the banking community to desist from blacklisting and de-risking activities, resulting in the withdrawal of correspondent banking services from CARICOM states. The President of the Dominican Republic has announced plans to build a fence along its border with Haiti, which extends for 236 miles. The president said the barrier would help curb illegal immigration, drugs, and the flow of stolen vehicles between the two countries, which share the Caribbean island of Hispaniola. According to the president, work on the barrier would start later this year. Haiti is one of the poorest nations in the Western Hemisphere. Relations between the two neighbors have been historically difficult. The president said the barrier in some sections would include a double fence along with motion sensors, infrared systems, and facial recognition cameras. The Dominican Republic, which has a population of about 11 million people, has already constructed some stretches of fencing along the border. And finally tonight, international news. Ex-French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been sentenced to 3 years in jail, 2 of them suspended for corruption. He was convicted of trying to bribe a judge in 2014 after he had left office by suggesting he could secure a prestigious job for him in return for information about a separate case. The 66-year-old former president is the first former French president to get a custodial sentence. His lawyer says he will appeal. Sarkozy will remain free during that process, which could take years. In the ruling, the judge said the conservative politician knew what he was doing was wrong, adding that his actions and those of his lawyers had given the public a very bad image of justice. The crimes were specified as influence peddling and violation of professional secrecy. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Stay safe